Welcome to the Taking Care of Tutu podcast. I'm your host, Meg Obanov. Today, we're so happy to have Honest Lyons on the show. Honest is the Executive Director at Hale Mahaolu here on Maui. Welcome, Honest.
Aloha, Meg. I'm so happy to be here.
Great. Awesome. So I have lots of questions for you, but I think our audience wants to get to know you a little bit first. So you're currently the Executive Director at Hale Mahaolu. How long have you been in that job?
Since August of last year.
Okay, so a recent recruit.
Yep.
And then tell us a little bit about your history.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised on Maui, born in the hospital here in Wailuku, and went to school upcountry. I grew up in Makuau. I went away for college in Washington State at the University of Puget Sound, where I had a sociology degree, which I have not used until I started this job. And from there, my early career was in environmental conservation. I worked for the National Park Service. I worked for the University of Hawaii, and I also worked for the Nature Conservancy. I've also had stints as executive directors at the Maui Botanical Gardens, the Hawaii Land Trust, which then was Hawaiian Islands Land Trust, and a fairly long stint as a land use planner here on Maui, focusing mostly on shoreline planning. And this job came open. I was on the board. I had been on the board for about 9 years, was the most recent board chair.
That makes a lot of sense. I was sort of wondering about the transition from environmental and land use into senior housing and care, but that makes a lot of sense. You were on the board for 9 years.
Yeah. So I knew the organization pretty well, at least from a board standpoint.
Right.
Operationally, there were a few things to learn, but I knew all the big pieces coming into it. With the job opening, I had considered it the last time that it came open, but decided not to apply at that time. And this time just seemed different. And I expressed some interest and was met with a favorable reply from both the then executive director and the new board chair. So, and of course eventually the board also got on board with candidacy. So yeah, that was perfect.
Tell us about the different programs that Hale Mahaolu has. I think people will probably be most familiar with the fact that you folks provide housing for seniors in several different locations on the island. I know there's more to it than that, but maybe can we start with those? Like, which one was the first one and where are the different locations?
Sure.
Also, and they're numbered very conveniently in chronological order.
They sure are. So we were founded in 1967 as a collaboration between the then Mayor Elmer Carvalho and the Maui County Council to take advantage of some federal funding programs that were available for affordable housing. So our first site is Akahi in Kahului on Hina Street. Our second site is Hale Mahaolu Elua, which is where my office is and what we call the central office. We have sites in Pukalani. We had 4 sites in Lahaina. All 4 were burned in the fire and are now under some different levels of restoration or rebuilding. I
guess your land use planning unexpectedly is coming in handy.
Oh yeah. It actually dovetails very nicely. My sociology and land use planning kind of came together in this job.
For sure.
So we also have sites on Molokai and Lanai.
And then did you say Kihei? I know the Kihei one.
We have one site in Kihei and one currently under development in Kihei.
Oh, wow. And do you still have the one in Makua?
Yes,
Not the one by Longs, but the one in Makua Avenue. Okay, great.
That's right. That's on Makua Avenue by the post office.
So how many are there altogether?
So before the fires, it was 17.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that many. Wow.
Yeah. It was 1,300 units, and we're at 1,100 units at the moment.
Yeah. So what is the smallest site? How many is it the smallest and how many are at the largest?
So we've got a couple of sites that are at about 40 units,
Mhm.
including the Makawao one on Makawao Avenue.
Yep.
Um, the largest sites, we have some that are, in the 150 unit range. We actually manage a site called Kahului for Catholic Charities, and that one is, I
Oh,
believe, 190 units.
wow, great.
Yeah.
So as far as the Hale Mahaolu sites, let's talk about eligibility, like from the point of view of maybe a senior who can still cook and manage things, but is having a hard time with rent, looking for a safe place to live, and is interested in Hale Mahaolu. What do they do?
Well, the first thing to do is go onto our website, halimahaolu.org.
Awesome.
And we have a housing tab that you can go and look at each housing complex with
Great.
photos. You can see what the general requirements are for eligibility,
Oh,
including
great.
income and age.
Oh, that's all on the website? Awesome.
That's right. Yeah,
Great.
that's the best place to get specific information.
Okay, so they
And
should have their grandchild help take them to the website, walk
I,
them through the different locations. Obviously, if they live on Molokai, it's gonna be like, that's where they're probably gonna go, but
I,
if they're here, they can look at, maybe where they're used to living, if they're living up country or they're used to being in Kihei. And then, is it common for someone to apply to more than one location?
Absolutely, yeah. You're allowed to apply for all that you're eligible for,
Okay,
and we ask for enough information to be able to pre-screen you to know whether you are eligible at that time, um,
great.
and then we'll send you a letter saying you were considered eligible or you were not considered eligible based on each site that you checked off.
Will you tell me about the, like, sort of additional services? Like, one of the ones I mean, a lot of the ones you mentioned sounded to me like if the 62-year-old that you're talking about is on a wait list for 10 years, gets in at 72, is aging quite healthily for a period of time, but then finds themselves, like, not really as able to cook anymore for themselves, that's when maybe some of these other services that you started mentioning could
Uh-huh.
come in.
Yeah, and we offer those services to the general public as well, so it's not just
Oh,
the
great.
facilities, yeah. But, yeah, certainly, they could start having somebody our meals get delivered to, most of our sites, every day. There's
And
a
this is you're talking about Meals on Wheels, right?
Well, so Meals on Wheels, we supply meals to Meals on Wheels. We
Oh, you make the meals for Meals on
Yes,
Wheels.
we do, yeah.
Okay,
And,
great.
we also have, delivery drivers that are employed by Hale Mahaolu to drive routes.
Oh,
Uh,
I see, and so that's for Halemaʻāʻulu residents and also members of the public?
that's correct. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so if you're just a person who needs a meal in Kahului, do you call Halemaʻāʻulu or do you call Meals on Wheels?
Yeah, you call Hale Mahaolu.
Okay,
Yeah, and there's kind of 3 avenues for paying for that. One is Medicaid, the other is private insurance. Most private insurance, has, an ability to pay, and we've
great,
negotiated rates with them.
great.
Um, yeah, and then there's just the private pay. You just pay
Uh-huh.
out of pocket. And we try to keep the cost down,
Mhm.
just to cover our cost, essentially. But we deliver 1,400 meals a day, in
Wow.
in Maui. Yeah.
And then is it 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day?
So it's the lunch and dinner. Well,
Great.
you can order lunch or dinner. You don't have to take both.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's up to you when you decide to eat it.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
got it. And so you also said that there's a personal care service. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew about that one.
No, so these are certified personal care assistants. They'll come into your home. They can help you bathe, clothe you, put on your compression socks, get you moved from bed to chair. Um, they can make meals for you or heat meals for you. Do some light housework like vacuuming, dusting.
Awesome. And
Yeah,
is that typically by the hour or by the task?
it's so. I mean, it's technically hour, but
Uh-huh.
the tasks are defined.
Got
Um,
it.
yeah, the expected tasks to be completed are defined.
So I know that they're independent units, independent living. Are there any community activities that are happening at a Hale Mahaolu site?
Yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff, and most of them have what they call senior clubs, and that'll be some informal leadership from some of the residents that put together everything from bingo to used clothing sales to luau, or so almost all of our sites have a social hall that's for use by the residents, and all kinds of things happen in there. I mean, hula,
Mm,
music lessons, ping pong. Uh,
great.
yeah, there's lots of activities, and a lot of it is resident driven.